Hi, Wesley with Expandacraft here. Going to show you 2 or 3 different Expandacraft Outrigger kits. This is the smallest of the Outrigger kits. It's a bow-to-bow section. It's a little over 8 feet long. And this particular one is blue and purple because that's the parts that I had that was ready to use. And with a green paddleboard. Don't worry about it. This is just a prototype. So, I have a plastic paddleboard, a stand-up paddleboard from my rental business. It is indestructible because it's a thick, heavy-duty plastic. It's not a lightweight, which is good in this application because the outer hulls, if you can see, are placed where they're going to be deep into the water and they will take a lot of the weight that we're going to be adding to this with myself at 230 pounds. The battery and the motor and everything, which by the way, this Vaquita motor has a 8.5 pound weight for the battery and the motor. Fits neatly in behind here on the little apparatus that I have. Now, let's say you're motoring along and you have some weeds. This is not even attached, doesn't need to be. I'm going to spin around. I'm going to pull this cord and up comes the motor. The motor and the blade. So that if I have weeds here, I can de-weed. Of course, you want to disconnect the electricals. You de-weed, drop it back down, spin around, and off you go. Of course, it can be outfitted for fishing and what have you, or it can just be a leisurely go to the island thing. You can release this. It is on here with straps. It is redundant. I have 2 different ratchet straps, one on either side, so that it's redundant. And you can take that apart, and then you can paddle this as a regular paddle board. Take the seat off, put it at your island camp. Then you have a seat by the fireplace. These wave-piercing bows are designed to pierce the waves, and if you look, it's on a pendulum. They go up and down with the wave. Very, very efficient through the water. They don't cause hardly any wake. Unlike a lot of the Outrigger kits on the market for stabilization, they're very blunt. Some of them are short and very little volume. They're more like training wheels. They're not wave-piercing, efficient hull design, which Expandacraft has. Now, we're going to put this in the water later, and I'll show you how my 230 pounds can get on board by going to the front. I actually press the front of the board down into the water underneath me, slide up on, and then off we go. Come on over, let me show you the next boat that we're going to highlight. This is a real one-person expedition boat, maybe 2 people. You could have 3, you could have 2 people on either side and a person in the middle. But I want you to think about expedition. You can take a lot of gear here. You can drop the bimini top down and use the sail. It has pedals and it has an electric motor. This particular motor is just a 12-volt motor. I have 2 batteries. It'll take you plenty of distance, more than you'd want to be in that seat. But one other thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to add 1 more of these deck planks on either side so that when I get to the island, I can push those decks together and I'll have a 6x6 flat platform in which to pitch a tent. I don't even need a campsite. I can tent on this boat. Lots of fun. The 12-foot Outriggers, you can easily disconnect the center pieces with 4 bolts and use the Kayak by itself so that you can get into the mangrove tunnels. You can even take the Outriggers and make them into a sit-on-top 12-foot paddle cat, as we call it at Expandacraft, so that you can take your girlfriend or someone out with a truckload of gear, get to the island, take this off, and then you have 2 watercraft to go through mangrove tunnels. This is just the beginning. Wait till we show you more. Now this is a client's boat who came to help me shoot. He's behind the camera. It's Roberto. Now Roberto bought Patriot. It's a 12-foot outrigger kit with a folding 10-foot beam. This was made for a lot more sail area than he has on here. It was made for a snipe rig. If you know what a snipe rig is, if you don't, look it up. Google will help you. So it's a sloop rig that's much more powerful than this little sail that he has on it. But he's starting this off. This is a kit that's going on and on. He's got a seat here that he can sit on. Roberto, can you tell me, you have a flat back dinghy. What is the efficiency, gas mileage wise and weight wise, for this setup versus your flat back dinghy?
Well, the flatback dinghy, which is a deeper sort of displacement hull, it's a lot wider. She plows through the water, whereas this boat kind of cuts through the water like a blade, which makes it very efficient going through currents and going through high wind and wave situations.
So you get better mileage with it too?
Yes, absolutely, because you can run this with this 2.5 horsepower Tohatsu outboard motor. You can run it at pretty much a third of a throttle, and you're already getting the same speed as you would.
The dinghy's wider. The dinghy's wider than the Canoe, not wider than the 10-foot outrigger.
Yes, the dinghy's wider than the Canoe, but the fact that it has skinny outriggers makes the propulsion through the water much more efficient on less throttle than it would for the dinghy.
And one reason is because of the fact that it's a lot of space, but it's not a lot of weight. The center part is 11 pounds. The bow stern is 7.5 pounds. And then you have just aluminum outriggers and aluminum decking. This aluminum decking is 2 pounds per linear foot. So a 6-foot plank is 12 pounds. You hardly notice the difference. Do you notice the difference when you're motoring?
Absolutely not. I can run this with one outrigger or two outriggers, and it will be the exact same. Exactly.
Well, that's kind of a wrap. I wanted to show you something about these different Expandacraft. We are definitely going to show you some in-water. There's some out there now, but we are going to take these out and take them into some surf and show you what they'll do on the water. Expandacraft.com. Check us out.